If a woman isn't afraid of losing you, there's a good chance she doesn't truly value you. Let that sink in for a second, especially if you're a man who's trying to understand and master your relationships. This isn't just some theory to casually test out. It's a truth you need to feel in your bones. Because if you can't show her that having you in her life is something special, that you can walk away at any moment, you'll always be the one chasing, the one trying too hard, the one left confused when she starts to pull away. Even though you feel like you've done everything for her, when you're always available, always predictable, always just there, you stop being special in her eyes. She might still keep you around, but not out of love, out of habit, out of convenience. In today's video, we're diving into something a lot of men get wrong: how to make a woman fear losing you the right way. This isn't about playing games. It's not about making her jealous. It's about becoming a man of true value, the kind of man who makes her think, "I won't easily find someone like him again." Women are drawn to mystery, to strength, to men who respect themselves. But if you're always bending over backward, always saying yes, always trying to please, sooner or later you lose your edge. But the moment she realizes you could walk away, that you have options, that other women would want you too, everything shifts. And this video, it's here to help you flip that switch. Because when a woman fears losing you, she shows up differently. She respects you more. She wants to be closer. She sees you as a high-value man, just as you deserve to be seen. So if you're into calm strength, inner control, and not being ruled by emotion, the very heart of Stoic philosophy, go ahead and subscribe to the Stoic Station channel and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. If today's message spoke to you, drop a 1 in the comments. And if you're not quite feeling it yet, drop a 2. I'm always open to hearing your thoughts and getting better. As a man, there's one key truth you have to hold close. Women don't truly crave what they already completely have. Let that land for a moment. When a woman feels like she has 100% access to you, when you're always there, always available, always chasing, you stop being a mystery, you stop being a prize. You become predictable, familiar, easy to reach, and eventually easy to forget. Why? Because emotional attraction doesn't grow from certainty. It grows from space, from mystery, from just a hint of the unknown. That tension, the not quite knowing, is what makes her feel something. Think about it. Why are women so often drawn to men who seem a little hard to figure out? It's not because they want to be confused. It's because uncertainty creates intrigue. It makes them think. It makes them feel. It makes them try harder. But here's where most men fall into the trap. They think, if I text her more, if I call her first, if I always tell her how much she means to me, she'll see how devoted I am. She'll appreciate me more. She'll want me more. But the truth, it's often the opposite. When you're constantly available, when she knows without a doubt that you'll always respond, that you'll always be there, that you're just one hey away, she stops putting in effort. She doesn't need to wonder. She doesn't need to earn you. She stops feeling that desire, that tension, that fire, and over time, she starts taking you for granted. You become an option, not a priority. So, how do you fix this? How do you create the right kind of space without playing childish games or being distant just to prove a point? It's not about ghosting her. It's not about vanishing for days or trying to manipulate her emotions. It's about learning the art of intentional distance. It's about respecting yourself enough to not be at her beck and call. You don't have to reply to every message the second it comes in. You don't have to be the one always initiating plans, always checking in, always asking, "When can I see you next?" Instead, focus on your mission. Focus on your growth. Focus on being the kind of man who has a life, who moves with purpose, who doesn't need constant validation or connection to feel complete. Don't make her the center of your universe. Be the center of your own. Live like a man who's worth chasing. And then, something interesting happens. She'll start to wonder, why isn't he texting as much lately? Is something changing between us? What's he up to that's so important? That little spark of uncertainty creates curiosity. That curiosity, it creates desire. Because when she can feel your absence, even just a little, she starts to crave your presence more. That's the paradox. Space creates closeness, but constant closeness, that creates distance. Here's a real example. A guy meets a girl. Things start off great. Chemistry, laughs, connection. It all feels effortless. But instead of letting the bond breathe, he starts texting every morning. He's checking in throughout the day. He's always asking, "When can I see you again?" At first, she thinks it's sweet, but then something shifts. She replies slower. She cancels plans. Suddenly, she's too busy, and he's left wondering what went wrong. Here's what happened. He gave too much, too fast, too predictably. There was nothing left for her to chase, nothing left to wonder about, nothing for her to miss. Now, imagine if he had given her space to miss him, to think about him, to want him, not just because he was there, but because he was worth reaching for. Then she would be the one texting first. She would be the one leaning in. She would be wondering, is he slipping away? And that right there, that craving, that longing, that's what keeps attraction alive. So remember this, your value isn't just in how much you give, it's in how rare your energy is, how grounded you are, how intentional you are with your time, your focus, and your heart. Let her feel your presence when you're near, and your absence when you're not, because the man who's everywhere becomes invisible, but the man who's just out of reach becomes unforgettable. 2. Learn to control your availability. This one might sting a little, but hear it anyway, because it matters. The more accessible you are, the less value you seem to have in a woman's eyes. Harsh? Maybe, but it's the truth. And if you truly want to keep her respect, her interest, her attraction, you have to understand this. When a woman knows she can have your time, your attention, your energy, whenever she wants, she stops seeing it as special. And when something stops feeling special, we all stop appreciating it. She won't try anymore. She won't invest. And where there's no effort, there's no value. Now, a lot of men fall into this exact trap, always replying to texts instantly, canceling everything just to see her, dropping whatever they're doing just to make her happy at first. Yeah, she might enjoy the attention, but only for a moment. Before long, she starts seeing you as too easy, as a man without boundaries, as someone who doesn't value himself. And that's when things begin to shift. Because here's the truth. Women are drawn to men who have clear goals, who value their time, who move with purpose. But when you make her the center of your world, when your schedule, your focus, your life starts to revolve around her, you're sending one silent message. I've got nothing more important going on. And that is not attractive. It doesn't ignite curiosity. It doesn't create longing. It doesn't inspire her to earn your time, because in her mind she already has it. But if you want to stay attractive, if you want to be the man she respects, desires and chases, you have to shift the energy. You have to protect your presence. So what should you do? It's actually simple. Manage your time intentionally. This doesn't mean you need to ignore her. It doesn't mean you should play cold-hearted games. That's immaturity, and women can feel that a mile away. What it does mean is this: don't always respond to her texts the second they arrive. Don't always be the one initiating plans. Don't always drop what you're doing just because she called. Because when you don't do those things, something powerful happens. She starts to feel your absence. She starts to value your time. She begins to wonder why you're not chasing like before. And that wondering, that small sense of uncertainty, becomes fuel for attraction. Why? Because uncertainty creates interest. Mystery creates momentum. And when she's not sure how much access she has to you, she starts leaning in. Let's break it down even more. Imagine two men dating the same kind of woman. The first guy always texts back fast. He agrees to everything. He checks in constantly. The second guy responds when he has time. He's not rude, but he's focused. He doesn't always plan everything. He's living his life. Now, who do you think she's more drawn to? Exactly, the second guy. Why? Because he's not predictable. He's not desperate. He respects himself, and that makes him magnetic. Women are naturally attracted to men who have options. Men who are busy, men who are grounded, men who don't drop everything for them at a moment's notice. So if you want to be that kind of man, the one she looks up to, longs for, fights to keep, then do this. Stop being the always available guy. Don't hand her your time like it means nothing. Let her earn your presence. Let her wonder what you're doing. Let her feel what it's like to miss you. Because that's where the real magnetism lives. Not in chasing, not in overgiving, but in standing firm in your own life. So she has something real to be drawn to. 3. Let her feel uncertainty about you. As a man, you've got to be brutally honest with yourself. Because this might go against everything you've been told. Total certainty kills emotion. The moment a woman knows exactly where she stands in your heart, when she fully believes you're hers no matter what, everything changes. Now don't get it twisted. This isn't about playing cold games or toying with her heart. This is about understanding feminine emotion, how it truly works. Women are emotional beings, and emotions don't thrive in predictable, flat lines. They grow in the space between knowing and wondering, between security and suspense, between he's mine and is he. Think about it. At the beginning of things, before she knew how much you really liked her, she was obsessed. She reread your texts. She analyzed your emojis. She talked to her friends about every little thing you said. Why? Because that uncertainty made you exciting. It lit a fire inside her. It made her feel. But the moment she becomes completely sure of you, the moment she knows you're not going anywhere no matter what, that fire starts to dim. No more chasing, no more wondering, no more effort. She's already won. And here's the mistake most men make. They think that to make a woman feel safe, they need to constantly prove their love. They shower her with reassurance. They say, I'll always be here. They tell her, you never have to worry. I'm not going anywhere. But ironically, that's the exact moment her attraction begins to die. Because when there's no risk of losing you, there's no reason to fight for you. And when there's no fear of loss, there's no emotional depth. Let me be crystal clear. This is not manipulation. It's not about being distant or emotionally unavailable just to mess with her head. It's about maintaining balance. Because if she knows, without a doubt, that no matter what she does, you'll always be there. Always text back right away, always validate her feelings. There's nothing to hold on to, nothing to earn, nothing to lose. And without that delicate tension, there's no passion. You want an example? Why do women binge-watch drama shows for hours? Why do they obsess over celebrities who don't even know they exist? Why do they keep opening that one message, even if it never gets a reply? Because of the unpredictability. Because there's tension. Because their emotions are engaged. That's the power of uncertainty. And love, real emotional attachment, works the same way. If you're always emotionally available, always open book, always giving and giving and giving, there's no mystery, no edge, no spark. So what should you do? Stop over-explaining yourself. You don't need to justify every action, every thought. Stop sharing every feeling the moment it shows up. Let her wonder sometimes. Stop trying to be emotionally perfect. You don't need to say, "I love you" every day to be loved. Instead, keep a little mystery, a little space, a little unpredictability. Let her feel that she hasn't fully figured you out. That's what keeps her interested. That's what makes her lean in. That's what keeps her emotionally connected to you. Because when a woman feels a bit of uncertainty, she thinks about you more. She values you more. She chases you because she doesn't want to lose what she can't fully hold. So remember this: you don't have to be cold. You don't have to be distant. But if you want her attraction to stay alive, don't let her feel too sure. Let her feel just enough uncertainty to stay emotionally hooked. 4. Signs that you're a man with options, and why that naturally attracts women. Let's get one thing crystal clear. Women are drawn to men who are desired by others. It's not just about looks. It's not just about status. It's about perceived value. Because in the eyes of a woman, value attracts attention, and attention creates desire. When she sees that other women admire you, she doesn't just think, "He's attractive." She thinks, "He's worth holding on to." Now flip that around. If no one seems interested in you, if you're always alone, always free, always waiting on her, she won't feel any urgency to win you. There's no competition, no tension, no fear of loss. So there's no motivation. This is why men with high status, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, rarely need to convince women to like them. Their value speaks for itself. A woman sees the energy around them. She feels the way others react to them. And without a word spoken, she thinks, "This guy must be worth it." It's primal, it's instinctual, and it activates something deep in her, a natural sense of competition. Suddenly she's thinking, "If I don't lock this man down, someone else will." And here's the beautiful truth. You don't need to be famous. You don't need millions in your bank account. You don't need to post flashy pictures to pretend you have value. You just need to live like a man who does, a man who is respected, confident, emotionally independent, surrounded by a full, meaningful life. When a woman sees that in you, she leans in. She tries harder. She wants your attention because she knows you're not just sitting there waiting for her. But if she ever feels like she's your only option, if you cut off your world, cancel your plans, ditch your friends the moment you start liking her, her effort starts to fade. That's when you'll see the signs. She replies less often. She cancels more plans. Her energy drops. Her excitement fades. Her attraction cools. And you're left wondering, what happened? Here's what happened. She stopped feeling the need to keep you, because one of the biggest mistakes men make is pouring everything into one woman too soon. They stop socializing. They stop meeting new people. They stop living. And in their mind they're thinking, I'm just showing her I'm serious. But what she sees, he's made me his entire world, and that's too much pressure. That doesn't feel attractive. It feels needy. It feels desperate, and desperation is like repellent. Because a woman doesn't want to be your everything. She wants to earn a place in your already meaningful, already fulfilling life. So how do you create that man with options energy without faking it? You don't need to brag. You don't need to name drop or act like a player. That screams insecurity. Instead, build a strong, intentional social circle. Be around people who lift you up. Pursue your goals, not just for women, for yourself. Stay grounded, communicate with calm confidence. No need to over-explain, over-text, or over-validate. And when she sees that, when she feels that you're a man who's respected, who's got options, who's wanted by others, she'll start to feel that spark of urgency, that subtle fear of losing you, that fire that says, I don't want anyone else taking my place. That's when her effort doubles, her energy rises, her attraction ignites. Because now she's not just spending time with you, she's fighting to keep you. So remember, live like a man who doesn't need to be chosen, because he knows he already is. That's what makes women chase. That's what keeps desire alive. That's what builds real power in your presence. 5. Be mysterious, not predictable. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships, they become too predictable, too routine, too easy to read, too known. And here's what happens. When a woman knows exactly what you'll say, when she knows exactly what you'll do, when she can predict every reaction, the initial spark starts to fade. And once the spark fades, so does the fear of losing you. Because what's always available, what's always the same, what never surprises, stops feeling valuable. Here's what most men don't realize. Women are naturally attracted to mystery, to curiosity, to the unknown. Not because they want to play games, but because curiosity keeps them emotionally engaged. She craves the kind of man who keeps her wondering, not worrying. The kind of man who lives with depth, who brings freshness into the relationship without having to force it. When she doesn't know exactly what you'll do next, her mind stays on you. She starts wondering, what's he up to right now? What does he really think about that? How's he going to surprise me next time? And guess what? That wondering keeps her emotionally invested. She starts thinking about you more. She starts working to keep your attention. She starts putting in effort, not because you asked for it, but because her emotions are activated. But if you become as predictable as a clock, sending the same good morning text every single day, planning the same type of dates in the same places with the same routines, always available, always there, always easy to reach, she starts to check out. Not because she doesn't like you, but because she doesn't feel like there's anything new left to experience. There's no more tension, no more wonder, no more chase. And here's the important truth. Being mysterious does not mean playing hard to get. It's not about ghosting her. It's not about pulling away just to make her feel anxious. That's immature. And honestly, it backfires. The real kind of mystery, it's about living with depth, with privacy, with presence. It's about being a man who doesn't reveal everything all at once. Here's how you do it, the right way. Keep parts of your life just for you. Have passions, goals, and inner thoughts she doesn't fully know yet. Sometimes take your time to respond, not because you're playing games, but because you're actually living a full, grounded life. Let your energy say, I enjoy you, but I'm not orbiting around you. Don't let every date look the same. Mix it up. Add new experiences. Surprise her, not with expensive things, but with thoughtfulness, creativity, intention. Don't always share every emotion the moment you feel it. Let her want to understand you more. Let her lean in to figure you out. Because here's the truth. A woman should never feel like she has you all figured out. You should have layers. Like a great book, like a film she wants to rewatch, like a story that draws her deeper in with every page. And when she feels like there's still more to discover, more to understand, more to experience with you, that's when she starts investing. That's when she starts putting in real effort. That's when she thinks, I need to keep this man in my life. And when she starts putting in effort, she starts fearing the idea of losing you. That's when everything changes. So here's the balance. Be present. Be warm. Be real, but don't be an open book. Keep a little mystery, a little unpredictability, a little space for her to reach toward you. And when you do, you'll notice something powerful. She's more drawn to you than ever before. Not because you're playing games, but because you're living like a man with depth, with presence, and with undeniable self-respect. 6. Stop over-explaining yourself. Let's talk about one of the most common, yet most destructive traps that men fall into. Over-explaining. You've probably been there. Feeling like you need to justify every action, every decision, every word. As if your value depends on how well you can convince her you meant no harm. Let me give it to you straight. The more you explain, the weaker you appear. And a weak man? He's not a man a woman fears losing. He's a man she grows tired of, a man she stops respecting. Now, let's get real for a second. Most men don't over-explain because it's just how they are. They do it because they're afraid of upsetting her, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of conflict, afraid of losing her. So what do? They apologize for things they didn't even do wrong. They write long messages to clarify things no one asked about. They try to soften every truth, sugarcoat every boundary, and tiptoe around her feelings, all because deep down, they're not standing in their masculine center. They're trying to be liked instead of being respected. But here's what women actually respond to. Calm, grounded, presence. The kind of man who doesn't feel the need to ask for permission to live life on his terms. A confident man doesn't explain himself. He doesn't defend every choice. He doesn't justify his decisions. He moves with clarity, purpose, and inner conviction. If he's busy, he simply says, I'm tied up today. That's it. He doesn't follow up with a 4-paragraph breakdown of his schedule. He doesn't explain why he didn't respond in 27 minutes. He doesn't try to win emotional approval for taking time for himself. If he makes a decision, he owns it. He doesn't need to convince her it was the right call. He just lives it. Because here's what's really happening when you over-explain. You're unconsciously asking for permission to be yourself. Let that land. Every time you explain too much, you're telling her, I need you to be okay with me, so I can feel okay with me. That's not masculine energy. That's approval seeking. That's fear in disguise. Instead, stand your ground. Ask yourself, do the strong, grounded men women admire spend their time over-explaining themselves? Do leaders, kings, warriors stop to make sure everyone's feelings are perfectly soothed before they act? Number. They speak clearly. They act decisively. They move unapologetically. Not because they're rude, but because they're centered. That's why women respect them. That's why their silence carries weight. That's why they don't need to say much, because when they do speak, people listen. So here's the truth. Don't give away your power through endless justifications. If she doesn't understand, let her wonder. If she's confused, let that uncertainty stir her thoughts. Let it pull her deeper, because that's the kind of tension that keeps attraction alive. When she doesn't know exactly what you're thinking, when she can't predict every word out of your mouth, when she has to lean in to figure you out, that's when she becomes emotionally invested. That's when she starts to chase your presence, not because you begged her to, not because you explained yourself into exhaustion, but because you embodied something she feels, but can't fully grasp. Mystery, power, presence. So remember, be the man who says less, but whose words carry weight. Be the man who acts, not to be understood, but because he understands himself. Be the man who moves through the world with quiet confidence and no apologies. And if she truly values you, she'll want to understand you. She'll work to stay close. She'll respect your silence more than she ever respected your explanations. 7. Make her invest more than you. Here's a simple truth most men never fully grasp. In every relationship, the one who invests less holds more power. Read that again. Yet so many men fall headfirst into the trap of overgiving. Too much, too early, too intensely, while she just sits back and enjoys the ride. Why? Because from the time we're young, we're taught this. You have to chase. You have to impress. You have to win her over. But that mindset, it leads straight to overinvestment. You end up giving more than she's giving you. More energy, more attention, more emotion. And when you give more than she's willing to give in return, she stops fearing the idea of losing you. Because why would she fear losing something that came so easily? Here's what women really value, what they have to work for. If she's the one calling you first, making plans, trying to impress you, putting in effort to make you happy, then she's the one who's emotionally invested. She's built something, and what we build, we protect. What we earn, we value. What we fight for, we want to keep. It's just human nature. So no, you don't have to be cold. You don't need to ghost her. You don't have to play hard to get. But you do need balance. And honestly, maybe even a slight lean in your favor. If she gives 70%, you give 60%. If she plans the date, show up, but don't always take the lead. If she tries to impress you, appreciate it, but don't act like you're lucky just to be in her presence. Because here's what most guys do, and it's what kills attraction. They meet a woman and instantly pour everything into her. Non-stop texting, rearranging their entire life around her, overcompensating to keep her interested. And at first, she may smile. She may say it's sweet. But soon, the energy shifts. She pulls away. She stops trying. She doesn't feel like she has to earn your presence anymore, because you're doing all the work. And when she's not working for it, she's not valuing it. And when she's not valuing it, she's already halfway out the door. A woman only truly values you when she has to work to keep you. When she invests more than you do, that's not just a reflection of your worth. That's when she starts to fear losing you. So if she's not putting in effort, step back, not to punish her, not to play games, but so she can feel your absence. Because that absence, it creates reflection, and that reflection creates desire. She'll start asking herself, why isn't he chasing me like the others? Am I losing someone who's actually different? If she truly cares, she'll step up. If she doesn't, then maybe she never really invested in the first place. Here's what high-value men do. They never overinvest. They don't beg to be seen. They don't fight to be chosen. They don't give everything just to feel loved. They let women earn their place in their life. And if a woman fears losing you, she'll find a way to keep you. Not because of tricks, not because of manipulation, but because you've shown her something rare. A man with self-worth. A man who doesn't need to be rescued, understood, or approved of. A man who's focused on his mission, his growth, his path. That kind of man, he creates a natural sense of loss without saying a word. Not through games, but through strength. Because when you stop being overly available, when you stop living to please her, when you start living for yourself, that's when she feels it. That's when she realizes, this isn't a man I can take for granted. This is a man I need to hold on to. So ask yourself, honestly, are you the man she respects and values? Or the one she knows will stick around no matter how she treats him? That difference, it's everything. Because your value isn't in what you say, it's in how you live. That's the heart of Stoicism. No begging, no chasing, no convincing, just standing firm and letting the world decide who's worthy of standing next to you. Summary. So here we are, at the end of this journey, and what remains isn't just advice. It's not tactics. It's not tricks. It's an undeniable truth. A man's value doesn't come from how much he does for a woman. It comes from how he lives, from what he chooses, from where he places himself in his own value system. Because when you're always available, always predictable, always there, like some guaranteed option, you slowly lose that raw, natural magnetism, the kind that makes her crave you, that makes her wonder about you, that makes her feel like she needs to win you over. But when you start to pull back with intention, when you live with purpose, when you choose where your energy flows, when you stop explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand you, that's when you stop being a boy chasing love and you start becoming a man in control, a man whose attraction comes from within, not because he's trying to be someone, but because he already is someone. This is what Stoic philosophy really teaches you. It doesn't tell you to manipulate. It doesn't teach you to play games. It teaches you to stay grounded, to not get swept up in chaos, to not beg for attention, to never, ever lose yourself just to make someone stay. You don't live to please others. You live to respect yourself, because real attraction, it doesn't come from gripping tight and hoping they won't leave. It doesn't come from proving your worth to someone else. It comes from knowing your value and never giving it away too easily. And when you finally start living like a man with options, needing no outside validation, not always available, holding a little mystery, a little edge, a little presence, that's when the shift happens. That's when she, if she truly wants to stay, steps up. She starts to try. She starts to chase. She starts to fear losing you. Because in the end, women don't fear losing the man who's always there. They fear losing the man they know they won't easily find again. Let that truth settle in your chest. You don't have to become someone else. You just have to return to who you were always meant to be. A man of presence, a man of purpose, a man of quiet strength. That's the man she remembers. That's the man she respects. That's the man she fights to keep. Live like him. Now, let me hear from you. Take a moment. Have you ever made the choice to step back, to give her space, focus on yourself, and then suddenly noticed a shift, a change in the way she looked at you, spoke to you, treated you? Or maybe you've given too much, too soon. You poured in your energy, your attention, your time, only to end up feeling disappointed, hurt, or worse. like you lost yourself along the way. If any of that hit home, drop a comment below. Share your thoughts, your stories, your lessons. Because I read them, I respond to them. I care about what you're going through. This isn't just a video. These aren't just ideas floating on a screen. This is real life. And every man watching, whether he's healing, rebuilding, or rising for the first time, is learning how to grow stronger, smarter, and more centered. Day by day, let's grow together.